reaching your success if family functions the way it's supposed to. Unfortunately, it doesn't always function the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's true. Then what do we do?
Well, then you create for yourself your own support. If family is not the support that it should be, then you create your own support by picking your friends that will be supportive.
Dice que, le digo, ¿por qué vamos a hablar de la familia? Dice, porque la familia es muy importante para apoyar la forma en cómo te desarrollas. Dice, pero si tienes una familia que no está, ¿cómo se dice? Que no es apta para actuar como apoyo, entonces tú creas tu propio ambiente con tus amigos que puedan apoyarte en tus proyectos de vida. Okay, now...
So family can be a source of support. You should be able to share your dreams with your family. You should be able to tell them exactly how you feel. And if that doesn't happen, then that can create a problem.
Con la familia es una fuente de apoyo, dice, y deberíamos de ser capaces de compartir con la familia todos nuestros sueños, cómo nos sentimos, qué es lo que estamos sintiendo, y si eso no trabaja con tu familia, entonces estamos teniendo un problema. Then what do you do?
Well, it all has to do with the attitude that you have towards your family. I know a lady who has a very strong feeling toward family. And as a result, her family walks all over her. Her brother borrows money from her, and he promises to pay it back in a week. Now, she doesn't have a lot of money. And I know one story she told me that her brother wanted to borrow $500. And she said, I don't have $500 because I've got to pay my rent. And he said, no, I'll give it back to you in a week. And in a week, he did not give it back. And when she asked for it, said she had to pay her rent, he cursed her out.
Did you see? Fíjese, nos está hablando del caso de una mujer, dice, una mujer que en verdad tiene una muy buena actitud con su familia, pero se ha encontrado con personas de su familia que han abusado de su bondad. Dice, por ejemplo, tiene un hermano que le pidió prestado dinero, $500, y que ella le dijo, discúlpame, pero no tengo dinero, no tengo $500, tengo que pagar mi renta. No te preocupes, yo te lo doy. Y dice, y a la hora que pasó la semana donde había prometido regresar el dinero, no lo devolvió y todavía se enojó y le insultó por no pagarle. Then what do you do with that kind of family?
Well, and here's the interesting thing, is I asked her, I said, so if your brother asked to borrow money from you again, will you give it to him? She said, sure, because he's family.
Can you introduce me with her, maybe? I need some money too. Bueno, el problema es que ella todavía le preguntó, si tu hermano te volviera a pedir dinero, ¿le volverías a prestar? Dice, por supuesto, es parte de mi familia. So
people have this wrong idea that because they're family, you're supposed to do anything and absolutely everything for them. That's not true. Family members have to earn their trust. You don't just get the trust or the support just because you have the same mom or the same dad. You get that support because you support others. And if you don't act as a family member, then you don't get the benefits of a family member.
Very good idea. Bueno, pues hay algunas personas que tienen la idea equivocada, que creen que porque solamente son hermanos o hermanas, que uno tiene que hacer todo lo que ellos quieran. Y dice, eso no es correcto. La familia, igual que cualquier amigo, tiene que ganarse la confianza. Dice, No es porque seas hijo de la misma mamá, del mismo papá o de los mismos dos, vas a estar obligado a darles lo que quieran hasta que no se hayan ganado tu confianza. But you know, when you are a teenager, it's a little difficult, no? It's like everybody abuse of everybody, or no?
Yeah, you know what happens when you're a teenager, you're in a family, you are growing, you're trying to figure out who you are and what your identity is. And sometimes the family can be helpful in helping you identify your identity, but sometimes they can smother you and not let you be the person that you are supposed to be.
Dice, le preguntaba yo, cuando eres adolescente, pues todo el mundo está batallando. Dice, sí, cuando eres adolescente, estás tratando de figurar qué quieres hacer con tu vida, ¿no? Y hay algunas familias que te van a ayudar a lograr eso, pero hay otros miembros de la familia que al contrario te van a limitar en todas tus posibilidades de lo que puedes ser.
I worked with one young lady who she really loves her family, and she wanted to do a lot for her family. She was the first to go to college. She was the oldest, and she was going to college. Her family wanted her to be a doctor, and she didn't want to be a doctor. So it made things pretty difficult. I mean, she wanted to please her parents and help them out, but they wanted to push her in a direction in which she didn't want to go. So that's sometimes where family connections gets abused, I'm going to say. If it were my friend, for example, my friend says, I want you to be a doctor. You say, no, I'm not going to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. And you don't feel the pressure to do what your friend tells you to do. But you do feel pressure to do what your parents want you to do. But if it's not something you want to do, the parents shouldn't use that family connection to make you do something that you don't want to do.
Well, you have to think on them because they have invested a lot of that on that lady, and they need a doctor because they are going to become old, so they are expecting a return in the investment, no?
But they'd want a good doctor, right?
Oh, okay, that is the problem, okay. Miren, dice, por ejemplo, hay una joven que era especialmente muy buena onda con su familia. Siempre trataba de complacer, era la primera de toda la familia que había ido a la universidad, así es que estaba muy agradecida con toda su familia. El problema es que sus padres querían que ella estudiara medicina, ¿no? Que se convirtiera en doctora. Ella no quería hacerlo, dice. Entonces, imagínense, los padres estaban esperando que ella hiciera lo que ellos quisieran, dice, porque cuando un amigo te sugiere una carrera, por ejemplo, te dice, deberías ser doctor, tú dices, no, y ya. Pero cuando un padre o alguien de la familia te lo pide, te acelera más la presión, o sea, te sientes más presionado a hacer lo que ellos dicen. Then what happened?
I lost contact with that young lady. At the time, she was in college at Stanford, and she wanted to actually major in South Asian studies is what she wanted to do. She had visited Korea, and she thought that's something she really wanted to do. I have not learned what ultimately happened, but she called me for advice, and I said, if you don't want to be a doctor, I don't want you to be my doctor. So you should do what it is that's going to make you happy.
I hope that you don't go to the doctor and surprise you see her.
Well, it's possible for her to change her mind.
Ajá.
Yeah,
well, esta joven dice, bueno, la conocí en la Universidad de Stanford y ella me llamaba para pedirme consejo de qué hacer con respecto a su decisión de qué carrera seguir. Ella quería estudiar estudios de Surasia, Dice, porque había estado por allá y le había encantado eso, pero me llamó para preguntarme dice, perdí el contacto con ella, no sé qué pasó con ella, y le decía yo que a lo mejor se la encuentra como doctora. Dice, bueno, también podría haber cambiado su manera de pensar. So, we have 1 minute, my friend.
So here's the important thing about family. You cannot assume that because you have a blood connection or a legal connection, you can't assume that you're going to get the support and the encouragement and maybe even financial help from family. Don't assume that. You have to cultivate that relationship, and you have to be supportive and encouraging to your family if that's what you want them to be to you.
Very good. Así es que amigos, dicen, ustedes no pueden asumir que su familia les va a dar todo lo que ustedes necesitan, ¿verdad? Pero sí les pueden motivar, dice, y de esa misma manera se espera que ustedes respondan a su familia exactamente en la misma manera de lo que ustedes esperan de ellos. Thank you, Dana. It was a pleasure to have you. I hope that next time you can be here.
We'll be right there in the studio.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Say hello to Erika. Bye bye. Cuando la noche tranquila serena